calculation. The problem is that, right? So could you please send a message to the others also to join, because this numerical example is a key factor that I am going to evaluate in the reflection paper. So we'll wait another only 5 minutes, right? Sharply, I'm starting at 7:47, right? On regarding your assignment, you have done well on your group assignment. I'm really happy for that. I just went through some notes or else some quotes, and those seems looks good, but I just went roughly, right? Not with the exact criteria to the evaluation. So it looks good, right? And also hope you can remember our next what you call assignment is on next 17th, right? I just pass some what you called information, right? Until others joining, you will be having a question paper which consists of 25 questions, right? 25 questions, and you will be only given 35 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes exactly. After I'm on the process of preparing it, so once I prepare, I'll tell you the exact minutes, right? Exact minutes, 30 or 35. The form of the question is not as the previous quiz that you will have experience, right? Have you experienced a quiz up to now? Quiz එකක් කරලා තියෙනවද කවුරු හරි මොකක් හරි subject එකකින්? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I think the way you got the questions are all the questions can appear, no? Can appear in a one single paper. Is it? That is the way. එක paper
Yes,
yes. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. This time it will be differ, right? It will be differ. You will only get the one question in a one page, right? In a one page. After doing the question, you need to move to the next page, right? You need to move to the next page, but you can't reach it again, right? The answer will be automatically submitted, and you can't reach it again. එකපාරයි question එක කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So you may have 1.25 minutes, like roughly around that, right? මිනිත්තුවයි තප්පර 20ක් විතර ඔයාලට question එකකට තියෙනවා. එක question එකක් paper එකේ appear වෙනවා, right? ඒ question එක කරලා ඊළඟ එකට ගියාට පස්සේ ආය කලින් question එකට එන්න බෑ, right? Yes, I'm thinking more about the time, right? Because I after finalizing it, I am working on that, right? So all those things are preparing by to reach the feasible target, right? So don't worry about you may the time will be enough, right? Time will be enough, but you will not able to refer the notes, right? You may not able to refer the notes because you have only one roughly 8 seconds, right? තප්පර 80ක් විතර තමයි එක question එකට තියෙන්නේ. Questions ලොකු නෑ, questions පොඩි. සිම්පල් දේවල් තමයි අහලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට අමාරු questions පහක් තියෙයි. ඒවා රීච් කරන්න පුළුවන් ලෙවල් එකේ බැරි ලෙවල් එකේ නෙමෙයි. බෑ. skip කරලා ගිහිල්ලා ආයෙ ඇවිල්ලා කරන්න බෑ. Right? That is the most important thing, right? skip කරලා ගිහිල්ලා ආපහු ඇවිල්ලා කරන්න බෑ. ඔයාලා question එකට answer එක දීලා තමයි ඊළඟ එකට යන්න ඕනේ. answer එක නොදී යන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ආපහු හිටපු තැනට එන්න බෑ. Right? Automatically submit වෙනවා. That is the way that I am going to evaluate, right? Questions මොනවා හරි තියෙනවද? We have another 2 weeks time, right, for the questions. So you can come up with the questions that we have. I'll do a I think if you need, I'll do a rough what you called questions, or else just a rehearsal for the quiz if you need, right? Tell me that after discussing. So it's almost 7:49. We'll start the session, right?
Recording in progress.
Right. So up to now, right? Up to now, we have gone through many more topics on the monopoly market structure, right? At the very beginning, we identified the different types of market structures, and we have completed the perfect competitive market, right? Perfect competitive market. And then we reached to the monopoly market structure, and at the very beginning we went through the characteristics to identify the nature of the monopoly market, how a monopoly market is created, right? That was the main thing that we discussed in the very beginning. And then by discussing the demand and the revenue of monopoly market, we have reached for the for a numerical example, which will show that how to calculate or how to obtain the maximum unit of quantity which will enhance the profit, right? Or else the maximum quantity will be the will reach the profit into a maximum point, right? So I'll use the whiteboard for this. So hope you all can see my whiteboard. If not, let me know, right? Okay. So write down your what you called equations at the very beginning. You have demand function and you have cost function. You can see the whiteboard, right? Is it, Lamai?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Right. This is your two functions, demand function and the cost function, right? So at the very beginning of the question, right, you need to understand these two functions, right? These two functions. Just go through the demand function, right? Demand function. You have a autonomous part which will be affected to the demand, and also you have the part of price, the effect of price onto the demand, right? And also, right? And also, just look at, you have a total cost function, right? And you have two parts on there, right? Two parts on there. So can you understand? Can you understand what those two parts are refer? Right? What those two parts are refer? Anyone? Anyone to answer? No one. So how you calculate total cost, Lamai?
Price, quantity.
Total cost, that is total revenue. How you calculate total cost? What are the yes?
Fixed cost and variable
Yes.
cost.
Yes. Total fixed cost, right? Total variable cost, right? See? So can you identify the fixed cost in here? What is the fixed cost? Anyone?
50.
Yes. Then variable is 40Q, no? So look at the variable cost. Just look at the variable cost, 40Q, right? That means when you change the quantity, your cost is also changing, right? When the quantity is 5, cost is 200. But when you increase the cost to what? To what? To 10 units, your cost is 400, right? But your fixed cost is not changed. You need to understand those kind of things, right? Right. So to obtain the maximum point, right? To obtain the maximum point, you need to do what? You need to satisfy the condition. What was the condition? Profit maximizing output condition is MR and MR equal MC. So at the very beginning, you need to satisfy, right? You need to satisfy. So in here, Lamai, right? In here, there are different questions, right? See, total revenue function, MR function, what is the MC function, what is the profit maximizing level of output, right? There is a flow, right? There is a flow. To obtain this profit maximizing level of output at the very beginning, you need to take the total revenue by basing on the what you called equations that you are given, right? If you have given TR here and TC here, you no need to have what? So constructing TR functions. But normally you will get this kind of, right? This kind of two equations when you're calculating, right? So these are steps to obtain the maximum level of output, right? Or else profit maximizing level of output, right? That is why I put these steps one by one as the questions, right? But in the question paper, you will be asked in the same manner, or else you will directly ask what is the profit maximizing level of output. right? What is the profit maximizing level of output, right? In there, you need to construct the TR function and obtain MR function from that, and also you need to derive marginal cost function from the total cost function. Then only you can identify uh, the profit maximizing level of output by equating MR and MC, right, Lamai? So in the question favor, if you have given 8 marks to identify maximum level of output, 2 will be here, 2 will be here, 2 will be here, and the last answer will only get 2 marks. You need to follow these steps. Otherwise, you will not obtain the correct answer, right? Right. So, MR equal MC is the condition that you need to fulfill, and to find MR, right? Right. To find MR, you need to identify total revenue, right, of the of the firm, right, of the firm by basing on above equations. So what is the total revenue? So how you could find out total revenue? You are very much familiar with this, right? Because we have discussed total revenue, marginal revenue, marginal cost, right, average cost. Likewise, we have gone through these things, right? So how you are going to find out total revenue?
Q multiply by P.
Yes, very good, thank you. This is the total revenue function, right? Way to understand total revenue. So you need to understand, right? You need to understand total revenue is a function of price and quantity. So what will be the price in here? What will be the price in here? Directly, right? Directly, you may not be able to find out price in here, right? So then you need to uh, take, right, or root out the price function from the quantity function or the demand function. So demand, right, finding P function, right? So I step by step I'll go through, right? It will be much more benefited than because if you have a one, so I may not asking the or not expecting the writing these things step by step, right? Or else writing finding P function likewise. Just for your convenience, I'll go through, right? So demand is equal 50 minus 0.5P, right? If we take this 0.5 here, right, we can write the equation as this, right? Then to obtain P, right, we can divide all these, right, all these by 0.5. 0.5. Right? Then what will be the answer? Tell me. P equal, right? 0.5 P divided by 0.5. Then only P remaining. This 0.5 to this 0.5 can be eliminated. Right? P equal 50 divided by 0.5 mean 100 minus, right? Minus what? 1Q divided by 0.5 mean 2Q. Right? This will be your price function. Right? This will be your price function. So have you got the way to obtain the price function? Have you got the way?
Yes, sir.
Yes. This is price function, right? Then we understood that total revenue is a function of P multiplied by Q. Then total revenue equal P multiplied by Q. Then we have price function 100 minus 2Q. We need to multiply by that by Q. Right? We, for our convenience, will put brackets here. Right? So total revenue, right? Total revenue 100 multiplied by Q, 100Q, minus multiplied by plus minus 2Q multiplied by Q mean 2Q. Squared. 2Q squared. So this will be your total revenue function. Answer for the what? Answer for the first one, right? Right? You need to construct the total revenue function at the very beginning. This will be your answer. Right? Total revenue. Then by basing on that, right? By basing on that, you can obtain what? What? Marginal revenue, right? How you get could obtain marginal revenue from total revenue? I told you that the first derivative of the total revenue function is the marginal revenue, right? First derivative, right? So marginal revenue equals delta or DTR divided by DQ. In terms of quantity, the first derivative of total revenue function. So what is your total revenue function? 100Q minus 2Q squared. Right? So what is the first derivative of this total revenue function? You need to obtain the power, right? Powers and derive. Right? You have one in here, right? One in 100 Q1. 1 multiplied by 100, 100. Then Q1 is there, minus 1. That means Q0, no any value. Power 2 is there. 2 to the power 2, 4. right? 2 minus 1, 1. This will be your marginal revenue. So have you got the way we took it, right? At the last time also we understood it, right? This will be your marginal revenue function. Right? Marginal revenue function. So we have constructed total revenue and we have obtained marginal revenue from that. Right? So we have marginal revenue now, right? Then our next condition is the marginal cost. We are going to derive marginal cost. So how we are going to derive marginal cost, Lamai? We can derive the total cost function by basing, right, or in terms of quantity. What is our total cost function? Total cost function is 50 plus 40Q. So this is really easy to derive because there is no power in here, right? We can totally remove that part. Then plus 40Q, Q1 is there, 1 into the power 40 means 40, right? Q1 minus 1 means Q0, so there is no any value. So 40 is the answer, right? 40 is the answer for what? For marginal cost. It is really easy, right? You no need to insert the values without powers, right? Without powers by a denoted symbol. You can just take it out, right? If there were no any Q here,
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, in which point did you wasn't able to hear? Certain changes are occurring, right? Certain changes are occurring. That is because in long run also the characteristics of the monopoly firm exist in terms of their way, right? In terms of their way. That means the barriers for the entry, lack of competition, or continuing the monopoly power in the market may be there in long run also. Right? The only thing that will be happen in the long run of a monopoly is the expanding of the capacity. Right? So when the expanding of the capacity is there, you may obtain more profit, more and more profit. That is the only thing that would happen in long run equilibrium of the monopoly. We can't, right? We can't find out the exact difference between short run and the long run of the equilibrium, right? So in the long run, the monopolist has the time to expand his plant or to use his plant existing plant at any level which will maximize his profit. He can operate in any level. He can expand the level and also he can operate in different levels. He can fully utilize his expansion and also he can operate in a middle point of the expansion also, not to reach the ultimate. With entry blocked, however, it is not necessary for the monopolist to reach the optimal scale. That is what I meant. Right? He need not to operate in the optimal scale. That is to build up his plant until he reaches minimum point of the long run average cost. Neither is there any guarantee that he will use his existing plant at optimum capacity. What is certain is that the monopolist will not stay if the business makes losses in the long run. So we have discussed extreme points, right? Extreme conditions, some conditions that mean some conditions that may happen, but so initially the thing that we understood is in short run monopoly, long run monopoly is obtaining profit, but sometimes there may be places, right? We discussed it in the previous lecture, right? In long run, no way the firms are not staying with the losses, right? Not staying with the losses. So he most probably continue to earn supernormal profits in long run also, because long run average total cost curve is under the AR curve or the demand curve. Average total cost එක demand curve එකට යටින් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Demand curve එක තියෙනවා, demand curve එකට යටින් තමයි average total cost එක තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට MRMC long run marginal cost එක long run marginal revenue එකට සමාන වෙන අවස්ථාවේ අපි optimum quantity එක හඳුනා ගන්නවා. quantity එක දිගුවක් විදියට ගත්තොත් demand එක meet වෙන තැන තමයි මිල තීරණය වෙන්නේ, නැතුව quantity එක මෙන්න මෙතන නෙමෙයි මෙන්න මේ demand curve එක meet වෙන තැන තමයි මිල තීරණය වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි ඒ quantity එකට average cost එක වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ ප්‍රමාණය. අපි මෙන්න මේ සම්පූර්ණ ප්‍රමාණය, right? මේ සම්පූර්ණ ප්‍රමාණය අපි අඳුර ගන්නවා profit එක කියලා. Just try to identify long run. In long run also, the firms are earning supernormal profit. This is another way, or else all graphs are together, right? All graphs are together. Fine. We have drawn this, right? Drawn this. So long run average cost curve have, right? You can remember how you are going to obtain long run average cost. Short run average cost curve වල එකතුවෙන් තමයි long run average cost curve එක හැදෙන්නේ. මතකනේ? Right? Then, right? Then why we do not take monopoly as a good or monopoly power as a favorable place to be for the consumers. Consumers ලට monopoly power වලට කැමති නැත. Right? ඇයි කැමති නැති? Mainly for two reasons. Right? Mainly for two reasons. Always in monopoly, price is much more larger than marginal cost. Much more larger than marginal cost. Can you remember? Right? You remember marginal cost is here, right? Marginal cost is here. But look at the price. Price is there. Always price is higher than the marginal cost. That is the main reason. And also too little output at too high price. Too little output at too high price. They can produce whatever the amount. That is why we have no any supply curve in terms of price. Once they produce, they give it to high price. They produce low output level due to low competition and supplies. So since we have no any competition prevails in the economy, right? We produce whatever amount we want, and we charge the maximum price. The maximum price. And also there is a deadweight loss in the monopoly. Right? And also we can tell that welfare cost. Right? So what is welfare cost? What is welfare cost of a monopoly? Welfare cost, simply remember lamai, right? Welfare cost mean the entire benefit that has been ruled out due to introducing the monopoly power. Right? Due to introducing the monopoly power. Earlier, can you remember, right? The economic surplus, right? The economic surplus in perfect competition, right? We can identify this as the price, this as the quantity, right? Economic surplus, this is what? Producer surplus, this is consumer surplus. See, the economic profit or economic surplus, right, is maximized. Consumer also has a surplus, producer also has a surplus, right? There's economic surplus. But in the monopoly market, due to charging different level of prices and due to not charging the marginal cost amount, there is a adverse impact on the surplus, right? On the surplus. Through a simple graph, we can find out that. We can find out that. Right? In monopoly, right? In monopoly, this is MR, this is D, right? In the place where marginal cost is, we identify this as the price, right? This as the quantity, right? But if we take, right, as per the perfect competitive market, see, demand is there, Marginal cost means supply in the on the perfect competitive. This entire part will give you what? Will give you the surplus. But see, this is the quantity, right? This is the surplus that the what producer get, right? This is the consumer surplus. What happens to this part? What happens to this part? This part has lost to entire economy, right? To entire economy. So we identified there is a deadweight loss in the monopoly, right? Due to charging different price levels and due to having lack of competition, there is a deadweight loss, right? Deadweight loss in the monopoly firm. In a competitive market equilibrium, P equal marginal cost and total surplus is maximized. As you can see here, P is marginal cost, total surplus is maximized. We can derive exact supply curve for monopoly, right? We can't, right? We can't. We can't derive exact supply curve for monopoly. In monopoly equilibrium, price is larger than MR, MR equal MC, right? This is the place where MR equal MC, right? MR equal MC. Price is much more larger than MR and MC. The value of buyers of an additional unit exceeds the cost. Right? You can hear me now, right? Anyone? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So the value of the buyers of an additional unit means P, right, exceeds the cost of resources need to be produced there, that unit MC. The monopoly Q is too low, right? Monopoly Q is too low, right? Thus, monopoly results a deadweight loss like this, right? In the perfect competitive firm, P equal MC, so economic surplus is maximized, but in monopoly, P is greater than MC. It creates losses in surplus to economy. That is why it is called a deadweight loss in monopoly, right? Due to charging different prices, due to the price is not equal to MC, the economic surplus, some portion of economic surplus is lost, right? In competitive firm, Q equal quantity is QC, right? Quantity is QC, right? See, quantity is QC. Then due to charging this much, due to charging this much, they have lost this much of total surplus, right? This was the producer surplus and this was consumer surplus. But due to charging this much, right, this much, this is producer surplus, this is profit, this is consumer surplus. This part, right, this part has been lost by the economy, right? Focusing on this one, right? In perfect competitive P equal MC, but in monopoly P is greater than MC as per in the graph. So you can see a dead weight loss in there, right? Clearly you can see. To understand this concept, Lamai, right? To understand this concept, you must have the concept of economic surplus, right? I think you can remember, right? Which we have discussed, right? Producer surplus, consumer surplus, right? That is all about the deadweight loss. Simply is monopoly, due to the monopoly, due to having these kinds of reason, too little output, price is higher than marginal cost, deadweight loss. We identify the dislike for the monopoly, right? Then we come to the last part of our session, that is price discrimination. We will able to complete by today, right? Price discrimination, right? So what is the meaning of the discrimination? Word discrimination. Can anyone tell me? What do you mean by a discriminated? What is the, how you can define the term discrimination? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me? Oh, what are the types of discrimination we can see? Yes, Chalakshi. Anyone? So discrimination means the differences, Lama, right? Discriminations mean the differences. That mean, right? That mean due to having different reasons, right? Due to having different reasons, we could obtain different types of differences in terms of many things, right? In terms of gender, right? In terms of gender, we identify male and female. That is a discrimination. In terms of black and white, we identified the races. We discuss about the people in the society, right? In terms of age, right? We discuss there is a discrimination in the society. So likewise, right? Likewise, price discrimination refers, right, the different prices that we can charge, right, by basing on different characteristics. So in monopoly, we understood up to now different types of prices can be charged, or price level can be charged. Normally, the monopoly firm, right, charge the highest price, right? But in terms of consumer, are you willing to pay that much? Is it feasible for every consumer? No, right? No. So in terms of customer, they do not like monopoly, right? Because they charge higher prices, right? Because they charge higher prices. So for that, right? So for that, we can come up with a solution. That is the price discrimination. That is the price discrimination, right? So as we can know, as we can understand, different parties in the society is treated in terms of their characteristics, in terms of their likes. Gender based, we identify, or we can identify different types of categories. In the color wise, you can, right? In the age wise, you can, right? So likewise, by basing on different characteristics of the consumers and consumers' willingness, we identified different types of consumers or different category of consumers in the society, right? In the society. So price discrimination concept address to those characteristics, right? We can practice different types of prices for the different types of buyers, right? Different types of buyers. But most importantly, right? Most importantly, remember, if the quality is reduced and the price is changed, or if the cost is reduced and the price is changed, we do not take it as the price discrimination. Then මිල වෙනස් කිරීමක් ගැන, right? මිල වෙනස් කිරීමක් ගැන, විවිධ මිල ගණන් අය කිරීමක් ගැන, නැත්නම් මිල විශේෂීකරණයක් ගැන කතා කරද්දී ඔයාලගේ ඔළුවට කෙලින්ම යන්නේ, right? කෙලින්ම යන්නේ quality එක අඩු කරලා මිල අඩු කරලා, quality එක වැඩි කරලා මිල වැඩි කරලා, like this, right? නැත්නම් cost එක අඩු කරලා මිල වැඩි කරලා, sorry, මිල අඩු කරලා cost එක වැඩි නිසා මිල වැඩි කරලා, ඒ වගේ. That do not refers to price discrimination, right? That do not refers to price discrimination. The price discrimination only refers to the willingness of the pay. ගෙවන්න තියෙන හැකියාව සහ කැමැත්ත මත තමයි price discrimination එකක් ඇති. ඒ characteristics එක මත බේස් වෙලා තමයි අපි price discrimination එකක් කරන්නේ, not by the other factors. Right, ළමයි? Sorry. Price discrimination means the practice of selling the same commodity at different prices to different buyers, right? Different prices to different buyers, different classes of buyers, different category of buyers. If the monopolist charges different prices from different consumers for the same commodity, it is called price discrimination or discriminating monopoly, right? Different consumers, different prices for the different consumers for the same commodity without change in the commodity. Without change in the commodity. So the price discrimination may be defined as the sale of technically similar products, right? Technically similar products mean no any quality change. There may be a slight difference, right? Not an identical difference. The cost may be proportionally somewhat changed, right? Not a huge change, right? The sale of technically similar products at prices which are not proportional to marginal cost. Do not base on the marginal cost. For example, all cinema theaters charge different prices for different classes of people. The quality is not change of the product, and the price is or the cost is not changed, right? There may be slight differences but not identical. Price discrimination exists when the same product is sold at different prices to different price. Unless otherwise, there will be no price discrimination. That cannot be identified as price discrimination if other things are changed, right? The cost of the production may either the same or it differs, but not as much as difference in the charge prices, right? Cost may be differ, quality may be differ, but not basing on the price. The Miller, right? මිල්ලට සැලකිය යුතු වෙනස්කමක් කරන්න තරම් cost එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. quality එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. Right? The product is basically the same, but it may have slight differences, not the uh, identical one, right? Necessary conditions for the implementation of price discrimination. Necessary conditions. What are the necessary conditions? We understand two types of necessary conditions for the implementation of price discrimination. First one is, right? First one is no reselling can take place. Right? The market should be effectively separated to sub-markets with no reselling. Market එක අනු වෙළඳ පළවල් වලට නැත්තම් කොටස් වශයෙන් effectively කාර්යක්ෂම විදියට separate කරලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම කළොත් විතරයි reselling කියන එක නවතින්නේ. Right? Reselling mean if we provide in a monopoly market, if we provide one good to 100 and other good to 130. If someone can purchase this 100 in bulk and sell it to 130, it do not take a place where price discrimination can occur. Right? රුපියල් 100කට සහ 130කට මිල විශේෂීකරණයකට අලෙවි කර. ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවක 100ට ගත්ත භාණ්ඩයක් 130කට ආපහු රීසේල් කරන්න තියෙන ප්‍රවණතාවයක් තියෙනවා නම් අපි මේක price discrimination කියලා අපි හඳුනා ගන්නවා. Right? So there may need to be a effective separation, right? Effective separation of the market into sub-markets, right? And also the market must be divided into sub-markets with different price elasticities, right? Different price elasticities. When the price elasticity, right? If the price elasticity high, that means your elasticity for the price is high. Right? ඒ කියලා කියන්නේ මිල මත භාණ්ඩය තීරණය වෙනවා නම් ගන්න ප්‍රමාණය වැඩි වශයෙන් තීරණය වෙනවා නම් ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවක අපි අඩු මිලක් තමයි charge කරන්නේ. Right? Think like this. There are different classes of people, right? එතකොට රුපියල් 100යි නම් movie ticket එක ඒකට කරන ඉල්ලුම, right? බැරියලා හරි මේක රුපියල් 120ට වැඩි කරද්දී ඉල්ලුම සැලකිය යුතු ප්‍රමාණයකින් අඩු වෙනවා නම් එතකොට නම්‍යතාවය වැඩි. Right? මිල ඉල්ලුම් නම්‍යතාවය වැඩි. එහෙනම් ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවක අඩු මිලක් තමයි පවත්වාගෙන යන්නේ. හැබැයි රුපියල් 150ට තියෙන මූවි ටිකට් එක, right? මිල 200 දක්වා වැඩි කරද්දී ඉල්ලුමේ සැලකිය යුතු වෙනසක් නැත්තම් අපේ ඉල්ලුම අනම්‍යයි. Right? ඉල්ලුම අනම්‍යයි. එහෙනම් ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවක වැඩි මිලක් යාට issue එකක් නැහැ. Likewise, the market need to be addressed correctly, right? Correctly into the sub-markets by basing on price elasticity. මිල ඉල්ලුම නැත්නම් මිල ඉල්ලුම් නම්‍යතාවය concept එක හරියට අඳුනාගෙන හරියට market එක sub markets වලට divide කරගන්න ඕනේ price discrimination එකට යන්න. නැතුව ගියාට තීරුමක් නැහැ. Right? That is the next one. So those two conditions need to be fulfilled. Right? The reason for monopolists to apply price discrimination is the major reason is to increase the profit, to maximize the profit. I'll show you how to do it. Right? This is the way. Right? I have just included this slide, I think, right? So you can note down the question first, right? Write down example for price discrimination, right? Example for price discrimination. The product A, we will take fish tins as the product A, are sold to, right, to 1,100 families, right? Product A, fish tin, are sold to 1,100 families, right? Out of them, 100 rich families willing to pay. Out of them, 100 rich families willing to pay rupees 130 to buy one. Rupees 130 to buy one fish tin. And 1,000 another poor families are willing to buy or willing to pay rupees 100 to buy a fish tin. First question. What will be the profit of the firm? What will be the profit of the firm if the firm charge a same price? If the firm charge the same price. Second question, what will be the profit of the firm if the firm charge different prices for different category of families? What will be the profit of the firm if the firm charge different prices for different category of people? So how you take down the question? How you take down the question? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, we'll work it out, right? So I have what you called just summarize it, right? Product A, fish tin, are sold. 100 rich families willing to buy 130,000 poor families are willing to buy 100 rupees per each. So altogether there are 100, 1,000 and 100. Right? So if the firm cannot price discriminate, that means charging charging the same price, right? Charging the same price. The profit will be, right? Profit will be the don't think about the cost, right? Don't think about the cost. I just take the 100 as the profit itself, right? Profit will be what? 1100 multiplied by 100 equal 1100 and 1000 rupees, right? Right? Firms. When the profit is or else when the price is not discriminate, right? Right? Then the profit is 110,000 rupees, right? Then if the firm uses the price discriminate by basing on the characteristic of these rich families and poor families, we identify there is a possibility to charge two prices, right? There's a possibility to charge two prices. So for the first 100, we take 130 and we sell it and we earn 13,000 rupees as the profit, right? And for the next 1,000, right? For the next 1,000, we earn 100 rupees only. Then we obtain 100,000 rupees as the profit. So by what? By adding both these two, right? Both these two, we can obtain 113,000 profit, right? So just take these two. 110,000 when the profit or when the price is not discriminate, when we charge in the same price. 113,000 when we charge in the different prices. So in the price discrimination, we can understand the profit in here. But this is not same in every scenario, right? In some scenario, this will be changed, right? This will be changed. Think that this is 100 and what you call, will take 108, right? 108. Then in here, what will be the amount? Right? This will be the amount, right? 108. So what will be your answer? 110, 800. So take this as what? Another price, right? When this becomes so, then we need to discuss about the degrees of price discrimination or different types of price discrimination that we can identify or that we can do in a monopoly firm, right? Different types of price discrimination or ways to do it, right? First degree price discrimination. Simply take these concepts into your mind, right? First degree price discrimination is the price that is proposed by the monopoly firm is the highest price, right? By basing on the willingness of the pay, right? By basing on the willingness of the pay, we are charging the price, right? We are charging the price. Look at here. Look at here. This is the equilibrium price. This will be the equilibrium price. But by basing on the willingness of the pay, different prices are charged, right? Different prices of charge. The entire surplus is producer, because if here it will be okay, but if the price is charged upper than this, right? Upper than this, the firms, right? Firms will earn more profit, and also the consumers may lose their surplus, right? Maximum price is charging by basing on the willingness of the willingness to pay. Each customer is charged the maximum price that they are willing to pay, right? Price equal MR equal MD, right? In the limiting case of the monopoly can negotiate individually with each buyer and sell each unit of output at its highest possible price. The demand curve also becomes the MR curve of the monopoly. Remember, by basing on the willingness of the pay, each customer is charged the maximum price, right? In second degree, right? In second degree of the price discrimination, we are identified three types of, right? First degree, second degree, and third degree. First degree is the charging the maximum price by basing on customers' willingness to pay. Second degree is considered the usage, volume of the usage. By basing on the volume of the usage, firm is charged, right? Different prices depending on volume of usage, right? When we demand more quantity, right, the price will be changed. And if we demand less quantity, right, less quantity, we will charge different prices, right? For example, when buying buying the data GBs, when we demand more and more quantity, the average cost will be decreased than the lower quantity, right? Lower quantity. But if we demand lower quantity, the price will be higher, right? Right. Second degree price discrimination is blocking price or quantity discounts in which firms charge different prices. I think these are not in the slideshow, right? You may better write this, right? Simply remember, by basing on the volume of the usage, right? Volume of the usage, firms charge different prices, right? Charging of a uniform price per unit for a specific quantity sold to each other, a lower price per unit for an additional batch for the product, and so on. Right? When we are obtaining extra GBs, if we taking high quantity, low price, low quantity, high price. So that is also basing on the characteristics, right, of the consumers. If the consumers are willing to obtain or use more and more low price, if the usage is low, the high price, right? So by basing on the volume of the usage also, we can take this. This will not also on the slideshow, right? Take down. So first degree and the second degree is clear, right? First degree means charging the maximum price, but by basing on the willingness of the consumers, right? Willingness of the consumers. But in second degree, by basing on the volume of the usage of the consumers, we charge different prices. Okay. Third degree price discrimination is the most frequent price discrimination which we can see, right? In there, right? In there, market distinguished by the other factors, right? Prices changed. Prices change, not but by basing on the cost, right? Not by basing on the cost, but by basing on the other factors, other characteristics of the consumers. For an example, in railway system, right, we can identify daily traveling customers. And also the customers are traveling not by a daily routine, but by an ad hoc manner, right? Ad hoc routine manners. So the daily ticket will be higher than the monthly season. Monthly season is much cheaper. That will be for the daily traveling people. Daily ticket will not give for the daily traveling people. That will be for the seasonal travels, right? In some hotels, the weekend prices, right? The weekend prices are changed, right? Are much more higher than the weekday prices, right? So these price discriminations, we can't. We are not only for the monopoly, right? Not only for the monopoly, but also for other market structures also we can see. But we are talking in the monopoly. So hotels is not a monopoly. It is much more like monopolistic competition, right? So it may also can use this price discrimination, right? So the main target is to increase profit by increasing marginal cost, by increasing marginal revenue, we can take, right? So third price discrimination is addressed to the other factors, not for the cost, right? The prices are changed by basing on other factors. That is the third degree market price discrimination, right? This is something you may not need to refer this, right? Just identify the different types of price discriminations, right? Then we have another 5 minutes. We can finish up. We have only 3 more slides to be discussed, right? So advantages of the monopoly, right? These are simple things. Right? We have discussed much more things, and at the last, these are just wordings, right? Wordings which will enhance your knowledge, or which will be provide some base to write an answer, right? Monopoly firms have large scale production possibilities and also can enjoy both internal and external economics. That is a really easy point, right? Because of the large scale internal and external economies of scale. Can you remember? Internal economies of scale and external economies of scale. Financial scales, procurement scales, right? Taking much more what you call the bulk purchases. Internal mean technical, right? Likewise, this will result in a reduction of cost of production due to the production cost is reduced. Output can be sold at low prices. This is beneficial to the consumers, right? But in monopoly firm, most of the time, this will not be practiced. But in terms of monopoly, in terms of firm, this will be an advantage. Monopoly firms have a vast financial resources which could be used to research and development. This will enable firms to innovate quickly. Due to having large capacities, due to having high profit, due to having high amount of revenue, financial resources for the firm is high. Then they can use it for the research and development, and ultimately may be used for the innovations. There are a number of weak firms in an industry, right? These firms can combine together in the form of monopoly to meet competition. In such case, market can be expanded, right? If we have different types of firms, number of firms, think that there are 10 firms, right? 10 firms in the market. They are not operating in a perfect manner, right? For an example, in bitumen market. In bitumen market also, these Tara right? Bitumen market also have only 5 to 10 suppliers. So they can only two markets are the major markets, firms, right? Major firms, right? So major firms. Then the thing that you can done is, right? You can be together to form a one unit of market, one unit of industry, right? Then disadvantages. A monopolist always charges a higher price. That is what I told. Right? These advantages are there for the firms, but these disadvantages are for the consumers, right? Which is higher than the competitive price. Charging higher price mean higher. Charging higher price mean fixing a price higher than the competitive price, the price that is formed by market and demand forces, right? Thus, the monopolist exploits the consumers. A monopolist is interested in getting maximum profit, right? Maximum profit. He may restrict the output and raise prices. Thus, he creates artificial scarcity for his product, right? Always he uses to get a maximum profit, right? That is what we done in some monopoly markets, right? In gas market, gas is not a monopoly, but it shows the characteristics of monopoly. For example, we can take gas market. So once they need to increase the profit, or when the profit is slightly decreased, they restrict the output and it automatically raises prices, right? They stop the output, it automatically raises prices. Thus, he creates artificial scarcity of product. There is a scarcity of product, right? A monopoly often charges different prices for the same product from different consumers. He extracts maximum price according to the ability of the pay of different consumers. right? That is also a disadvantage. A monopoly uses large-scale production and huge resources to promote his own selfish interest, right? A monopoly uses large-scale production and huge resources to promote his own selfish interests. He may adapt wrong practices to establish absolute monopoly. I'll answer the questions in the chat after finishing this, right? Mostly, monopolist uses a large-scale production, right? And also he consumes more resources in the society, right? To create a favorable manner, to create a significant interest between the society, he uses these resources in wrong practices. That can be a disadvantage. In a country dominated by monopolies, right? In a country dominated by monopolies, wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few. It will lead to inequity of incomes. This is against the principle of the socialist pattern of society. As I mentioned, right? As I mentioned, monopoly firms, right? If a country is dominated by monopoly, right, then 2-3 people will have the supreme wealth, right? ඒකාධිකාරයක් තියෙන රටවල වැඩි වශයෙන් ඉන්නේ කවුද? වැඩි වශයෙන් කියන්නේ එක්කෙනෙක් දෙන්නෙක් තමයි හොඳ wealth people ලා ඉන්නේ. අනික කට්ටියම එයාගෙන් බාණ්ඩ මිලදී ගන්න නැත්නම් එයාගේ ඒකාධිකාරයට යට වෙලා ඉන්න පුද්ගලයෝ වෙනවා. එහෙනම් ඒක inequality එකක් වෙනවා. ඉන්කම් එක ආදායම් බෙදියාමේ විෂමතාවයක් තියෙනවා. ඒක සමාජවාදී දර්ශනයකට හොඳ නැහැ. So those disadvantages are there, right? That concludes the monopoly part. That concludes the monopoly part, and also the what you called microeconomics, right? Microeconomics part එක ඉවරයි. Right? Microeconomics part is over. Then we have macro part, right? Macro part. 5 sessions are there for the macro part. Introduction, right? Introduction for the macroeconomics and some things to be done by basing on discussing some macroeconomics level of points, right? This was our initial, right? Initial plan, right? This was our initial plan. Right? This was the initial plan. Up to now, we have discussed these 12 topics, right? In here, we do not talk about the monopolistic, right? We do not talk of the monopolist, perfect competition, and monopoly, right? Then we have introduction to macroeconomics. This will cover some points of macroeconomic variables which we can see in the society, such as exchange rate, inflation, and unemployment. And also we have national income to be discussed as the macroeconomic measurement, and the sectors, 2 sector, 3 sector, and 4 sector economics. This can be discussed within another 8 to 10 hours, right? We have enough time to discuss this, right? So we are on the target, right? We are on the target, and what we have on the chat box. What we have in the chat box, you'll see. So think about a little